Hi everybody and welcome to another Super Deluxe Edition unboxing video. Today I'm really excited to be showing off the new Tears for Fears, The Seeds of Love reissue in all its formats. There's 5 physical formats. We're going to go through them all, take a look at them, including the Super Deluxe Edition CD box set and the vinyl picture disc and the black vinyl and the various CD editions. So, as many of you are probably aware, this album came out in 1989. It was Tears for Fears' 3rd album. There was quite a big gap between album 2 and 3. Songs from the Big Chair came out in 85. This came out in fairly late 89, I think it was September. Anyway, this album famously took a long time to record. It took about 4 years, cost £1 million or something like that. And in the booklet on the Super Deluxe Edition, there's quite a lot of information about that, where the members of the band and the various producers etc. talk about the making of the album. But anyway, we'll get to that, but for the time being I just thought we'll go through the formats. And we're going to start with the most basic edition actually. This is the single CD remaster, so this is just the album, single CD. This is obviously going to be quite cheap, and it's the album as remastered by Andrew Walter at Abbey Road. And there's not a whole lot to say about this. I mean, it looks really nice. They've done a good job with the design. It comes in a standard jewel case, and the booklet has the lyrics to the songs in it. There's no, I've written some notes but they're not in here. So the single CD, you just get the booklet, which is very nicely designed, and you get the lyrics to the songs. So that's that. But I doubt many of you are going to be buying this version because, you know, we're collectors. We like the Deluxe and Super Deluxe Edition. So let's take a look at the next step up, which is the double CD version. Okay, here we go. So this is a digipack, 2 CD set, Seeds of Love, and what you get in this package, you get disc 2 from the box set, effectively. So you get the album as remastered by Andrew Walter at Abbey Road on disc 1, and then on disc 2 you get a fairly generous selection of mixes and B-sides etc. Now I say mixes, there aren't, unlike songs from the Big Chair and the Hurting, there aren't loads of remixes of the singles, so it's mainly kind of edits and instrumentals that you get with this. So for example, there's a 7-inch version of Saying the Seeds of Love, there's a 7-inch version of Woman in Chains, there's an instrumental of Woman in Chains, which is the full-length instrumental, not the edited version that was issued on CD in the UK. The B-sides are actually really quite good. Always in the Past is very good. My Life in the Suicide Ranks is good. And of course there's the Johnny Panic and the Bible of Dreams mixes and B-side versions etc. on this disc as well. Just trying to see what else there is. There's a really good radio edit of Woman in Chains, a US radio edit. Oh yeah, and you do get an unreleased track, which is Year of the Knife, the Canadian single version. That was a promo only release in Canada, so it was never commercially released. It was tentatively going to be another single, but it never quite happened. It's very different, that Canadian single remix. So it's the first time it's ever officially been released on CD. You do get the 7-inch version of Johnny Panic and the Bible of Dreams. Anyway, it's a pretty good selection, I think, for the 2 CD set. So design wise, kind of opens out like that. Now with this version in the booklet, you do get a little bit of my notes. So that's the cover to the booklet. And I wrote some notes which are kind of like the introduction in the box set, but in this version they are the meat of the offering, if you like. So that's just me really taking you through a sequence of events. There you go, Paul Sinclair, just to prove I did it. So you don't get the lyrics in this version, but you do get some notes, so that's what that's all about. So again, nice though this 2 CD set is, I doubt anyone's going to buy this rather than the box set because the box is so good. So let's take a look at the 4 CD and Blu-ray Super Deluxe Edition. So this box is the same size as the previous box. It's a little bit slimmer, but I think it looks really good. Kurt, the designer, did a very good job of having to sort of transpose a square cover onto a rectangular box set. So I think he's done a great job with that. It says the title on the side, so when this is on the shelf, you're not going to not know what it is. Yeah, so all the graphics you might expect dotted around, the sunflower, etc. The back has the full track listing for everything on it. As I say, there's 5 discs in total. 4 of those are CDs, one of them's a Blu-ray audio. And this is a lift-off lid box, just like The Hurting and Songs from the Big Chair. This is the booklet, we'll look at that in a second. It comes with 2 booklets. That's the main booklet with all the notes in it. And then this square booklet here is a reproduction of a tour program at the time, so it happened to be square shaped, so that's why that's square. So this is what you might expect. It's quite glossy on the front, and I mean it literally just reproduces the original tour program in miniature. The same thing happened with Songs from the Big Chair and The Hurting, so it's quite consistent. But here's a really fun bit. Now, one of my contributions to this set was, as well as helping to put together the track listings, was to interview everyone involved. And when I say everyone, I mean virtually everyone. I spoke to Roland, I spoke to Kurt, I spoke to Dave Bascom, who ended up co-producing the album. I spoke to Chris Hughes, who produced Songs from the Big Chair and worked on this record quite a lot in the early stages, although is actually uncredited. I spoke to Alita Adams, spoke to Nicky Holland, who co-wrote a lot of the songs with Roland, spoke to Dave Bates, who was the A&R man. So it's a real picture of the development of this record from the people involved in their own words. So this booklet starts off with the introduction written by me, and then it goes into the Seeds of Love in their own words, and in quite a lot of detail. It just goes through the various stages and it goes through song by song. And very frank and sort of candid commentary really from everyone involved. There's a whole page here from Stephen Wilson directly about his 5.1 mix. So this booklet, I mean this is going to be one of those things that's brilliant to read while you're listening to the album. So let's have a look at the discs then. So this project has been going on since 2015, as some of you will be well aware. I haven't got any answers as to why it's taken so long, other than it's really down to the band and the record company together, and as a group they haven't managed to reach an agreement to do it, but obviously they have now. So let's focus on the here and now and have a look at the CDs. So these are kind of themed, these CDs. Yeah, so I have to blow my own trumpet a little bit and say this was my little concept, which was we'd named the discs after the sun, the moon, the wind and the rain. So the sun is that second disc from the 2 CD set, so it's single edits, instrumentals, B-sides. The moon, radio edits and early mixes. The wind is demos, diversions and jams. So this contains the Townhouse, live in the studio sessions, early demos of 4 of the tracks with Nicky Holland, various other things. And then the rain is the 5.1 mix from Stephen Wilson. I love the look of these discs, and I think it was a perfect thing to do to use this brilliant imagery and the illustrations for each of the discs. Let's go through it in a bit more detail then. So all these are gatefolds, and the discs come out like that. So if you buy the box set, you're getting your own bespoke, unique disc designs, which is quite nice. So that's the Seeds of Love album as remastered by Andrew Walter at Abbey Road. This is the same as CD2 on the double CD set. This is the sun. So this has all the same 7-inch versions, instrumentals, B-sides, etc. Now the Moon, let's talk about the Moon. So that's CD3 in the box set. And there's some really interesting stuff on here. Everything on here is unreleased, that's the first thing I have to say. So absolutely everything on this disc has never been released before. It starts off with a very interesting orchestral type version of Year of the Knife. Goes into an early mix of Year of the Knife, which is an instrumental. Follows by a different version of Sowing the Seeds of Love, an alternate mix which is quite similar to the full length version, but it just goes on a bit longer. There's a different mix of Tears Roll Down, the B-side. There's a couple of other mixes of Year of the Knife. There's something called the Steve Chase 7-inch mix, and there's something called The Mix in quotation marks, which has a completely different drum beat to it. It's really obvious looking at all the archives and looking at these CDs that they were trying to make a hit version of Year of the Knife for radio, and you know, it never got released in the end. There's an instrumental mix of Advice from the Young at Heart, which was never been released. Another edit of Woman in Chains. There's an instrumental version of that Canadian single version of Year of the Knife, which has never been released, and various other things. So there's 14 tracks on here, and everything's kind of interesting in my opinion. And then The Wind is the 4th disc. Now this is probably the best disc on the box set in terms of sheer playability and interestingness, if that's a word. This disc is fantastic. It starts off with 4 demos from the very early stages. These would have been done in '86, I think. So there's Rhythm of Life, Advice for the Young at Heart with Roland singing the lead vocal, Swords and Knives, and Famous Last Words. So this is Roland and Nicky Holland together, just working on demos. What follows is a very early demo instrumental of Sowing the Seeds of Love, which is quite different to anything you've heard before. Most excitingly is a Langer Winstanley version of Badman's song. It is an instrumental, but it's their version of what Badman's song might have sounded like. Roland and Kurt didn't think it was working out, so that's never been heard before. And then there's this series of Townhouse Jams, which was Roland, lots of shit-hot session musicians working through various songs on the album, primarily Woman in Chains and Badman's song. There's about 25 minutes of that. You may have heard Woman in Chains, which has been available on YouTube for a bit. And that's that disc. So as I say, I mean, this disc I think is amazing because the performances on the jam sessions in particular are incredible. So it's just fascinating. So you've got 2 whole discs of unreleased material. And then last but not least is The Rain, which is the Blu-ray. So actually a Blu-ray audio because there's no video content on here. These are compatible with everyone's Blu-ray players. It doesn't matter if you're in America or the UK or anywhere else. And what you get on here is you get the Stephen Wilson 5.1 surround sound mix, which is a lossless mix because it's on Blu-ray. You get Andrew Walters' remaster, which was done in 2015. And then we've also included the original 1989 Bob Ludwig mastering, influenced a little bit by Stephen Wilson. He said that's one of the best sounding CDs he's ever heard. So he thought, well, it seems a shame to consign that to history for this reissue. So that was what influenced the decision to put that version on this Blu-ray. You know, it's such a well mixed and mastered album in the first place. Didn't really want that to be lost. There's nothing wrong with doing a new remaster, but really there was nothing wrong with the original either, so why not have both? So that's what that is. You get 3 versions. There is no Stephen Wilson stereo mix because he didn't see the point in including that because, as I say in his words, the original was impossible to better really. So, and the other thing to point out is that the original mix isn't a high-res mix because the album was recorded digitally, so it only exists in mixed form at 44.1 and 16-bit, I believe that's what it is. So it's impossible to high-res the original mix without going back and remixing the whole thing. But of course, Stephen Wilson's 5.1 mix is a high-res lossless mix because that's exactly what he has done. He's gone back and to the multi-tracks and remixed the whole thing. So that's The Rain. That's the box it sits in. You can see there's some of the design there. That slots in there. You got a little finger hole to get all the discs in and out. Booklet sits on the top. The other booklet sits on the top there. And the lid goes on. That's the Super Deluxe edition of the Seeds of Love. Now it is being reissued on vinyl, as you would expect, and they've decided to make a very glossy gatefold vinyl of this, which is quite nice. But it looks really good. This blue looks really nice. It's very glossy. You can see that with all the light reflecting on it. And then, so the gatefold is actually what was on the inner sleeve originally. So the inner sleeve is actually just a blue inner sleeve, and that's the Fontana label, which looks quite authentic, I think. So that's the Seeds of Love. Obviously the original cover looks pretty stunning. They've done a brilliant job actually of reproducing the cover. I don't know what assets they had, but it looks very, very good. And also available on D2C channels and via Universal channels is this Seeds of Love picture disc. There was a song from the Big Chair picture disc earlier this year, so this picture disc is a good one to have to collect. Hopefully they might do the Hurting at some point, then we can have all 3 albums on picture disc. There you go, but that looks really good. This is one of those ones where it genuinely will look good hanging on the wall. I probably might actually do that with this one. It comes in a nice die-cut blue sleeve, which is really good. There's the back. So that's it. We've taken a look through all 5 formats of the Seeds of Love. This comes out on October the 9th, which is Friday. And I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks about it, because as I say, this is probably the best of the 3 box sets so far. Certainly there's a hell of a lot of work went into this, especially Stephen Wilson. The amount of time and effort he put into that 5.1 mix is incredible. So yeah, so thanks for watching this SDE unboxing video. Keep holding the music in your hands, and please subscribe to the Super Deluxe Edition YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.